Highway 16 is a 725 kilometer, 447 miles of highway, very desolate, going through British Columbia. It's been referred to as the Highway of Tears. You'll see why. Most of the families residing along the roads of Highway 16 are Indigenous. Many of the Indigenous families in Canada have suffered so much poverty due to colonization. They were sent to residential schools. They tore children away from the homes and sent them to these residential schools under the guise of teaching Christianity, but they were quite the opposite. They were very abusive, and they taught them to not speak in their native tongue and to show no emotion. To this day, you can still see that there are many, many effects of these residential schools upon the Indigenous population in Canada. It's a really sad story. I mean, you can go down the rabbit hole of it. It's very sad. I don't believe that the numbers of people that have actually gone missing and been found murdered or not been found is accurate. I did find that even when I did a study on the missing Indigenous women in Montana near Glacier County, the numbers are staggering when compared to the numbers of the people who actually get entered into the database of missing people. So I'm going to be doing a series on Highway 16. I could go through victim by victim, but the rabbit hole is so deep that it's not only Highway 16, it's everywhere. I have gone through so many different thought processes. Are they hiring people as farm hands? Are they doing things, as in snuff films or organ harvesting? I just don't know. I'll research it. One of the missing women so far was dropped off outside the gates of a ranch. There's highways such as I-80 in Nevada, Highway 20 going through Oregon, which they did end up arresting and connecting this person to some of the murders on Highway 16. But the thing is that I'm not really sure that I could find real evidence of where, I believe, his name's Brian Fowler. I could be incorrect. I do know his last name is Fowler. But there was missing Indigenous women along, and men, everywhere. But I think a lot of it is the blame of the investigators. I actually did a little research into Highway 16 and what was there prior to the 70s, and it seemed like, they were building a lot of throughways there, and so it went through around about 23 First Nation Canadian Indigenous tribes and cut through with this very desolate area, and if you didn't have a car, basically work was, which you would think that work would be abundant since they were cutting right through their villages. So since the last, the last 50 years, Prince George has had, women going missing. Most of them are First Nation Indigenous people. But throughout my study, I did find that the connection of the highways basically did, really create an opportunity for sickos and people who just remained anonymous throughout. I mean, I believe there is multiple serial killers, so just bear with me while I try and research all of this, because you know me, I go down a rabbit hole, and it's just, it is what it is. So let's take a deep dive into missing people along our highways.